let's talk about the foundation of everything we're discussing today. Because without this, nothing else I'm about to share will truly work. We live in a world where so many people think pleasure is purely physical. They think it's just about the right technique, the right speed, or the right spot. And yes, those things matter. But for a woman, release begins long before you ever touch her. It begins in her mind, in her heart, in the space where she decides whether she can completely let go with you or not. If emotional safety is the foundation, then engaging her senses is the architecture you build on top of it. Because once she feels secure with you, her body is ready to respond, but the speed and depth of that response will depend on how fully you awaken her sensory world. Here's something many people overlook: arousal isn't a switch you flip, it's a symphony you conduct. And the more instruments you bring into that symphony, the more senses you engage, the faster and more intensely the music builds. We tend to think of intimacy as mostly a physical act, but in reality, it's an entire sensory experience. Her mind is registering your voice, her skin is mapping your touch, her ears are tuning into your breath, her nose is catching your scent, and her eyes are catching every flicker of your expression. All of these are signals, and the more of them you awaken, the more her body steps into full presence with you. Most men underestimate how powerful this is. They think if they just do the right move, that's enough. But the body isn't just physical, it's electrical. The senses are like pathways to her nervous system, and when you activate more than one at a time, you accelerate the journey to release. Imagine whispering something in her ear while your hand traces her back, or letting her catch your scent as you kiss her neck, or locking eyes with her while you speak in a low, steady tone. These combinations don't just add pleasure, they multiply it. The sense of touch, of course, is central. But touch isn't just about pressure, it's about texture, rhythm, and intention. A hurried, distracted touch is like static noise to her body. It doesn't pull her in. But a touch that is deliberate, varied, and tuned to her reactions tells her nervous system, this is safe. This is exciting. Stay here. There's a reason why some touches make her shiver before you've even reached her most sensitive spots. It's because you're telling her body a story, and that story is making her open. Sound is another underestimated element. Your voice, your breath, the quiet sounds you make when you're with her, they all communicate something. If your voice is rushed, flat, or absent, you're missing an opportunity. But if you speak slowly, with presence, or even say nothing but let her hear your breath syncing with hers, you create a rhythm she can fall into. It's primal. We're wired to respond to sound. Think of how music can stir emotion instantly. Your voice can do the same. Then there's sight. Many men close their eyes too much, thinking that it deepens the experience. But for her, eye contact is one of the most direct forms of connection. Not staring in an unblinking way, but letting your eyes meet hers in moments that matter. A look can say more than any words. It can say, I see you. It can say, I'm here. It can say, I want you completely. And when she believes that look, her body believes it too. Smell is subtle but potent. We don't talk about it much, but scent bypasses the rational brain and goes straight to the emotional and instinctual centers. This is why a certain fragrance can instantly remind you of a person or a moment from years ago. Your natural scent, combined with the right level of closeness, can awaken something in her that's hard to explain logically but impossible to ignore. And taste, yes, taste matters too. It's in the way you kiss her, the way you linger instead of rushing, the way you let that moment of contact feel rich instead of mechanical. Taste is intimate because it's personal. You're literally sharing a part of yourself. When you engage multiple senses at once, you do more than just make her feel good. You immerse her in the moment. You pull her away from her thoughts, her distractions, her self-consciousness, and you drop her right into her body. And here's the secret. When she's in her body, she moves toward release naturally. Her mind stops getting in the way. She's not analyzing, she's experiencing. And that is when speed comes effortlessly. But this is where the philosophy comes in. Engaging her senses isn't about overwhelming her. It's not about bombarding her with too much at once. It's about weaving the senses together with precision. Think of it like painting. If you splash every color onto the canvas at the same time, you get chaos. But if you layer them intentionally, you get art. You want to create a flow where each sense enhances the others, where every sensation you give her deepens the one before it. And here's another truth. When you engage her senses, you're not just waking up her body, you're awakening her memories, her fantasies, her dreams. The senses are tied to emotion, and emotion accelerates arousal in ways pure technique never will. You're not simply touching her, you're triggering the parts of her that have been waiting to feel alive. So if you want her to release faster, don't just think faster, think fuller. Think about how to make her world in that moment so rich, so layered, that she can't help but surrender to it. When all her senses are engaged, she's no longer counting minutes or steps. She's lost in you. And in that loss, she finds the release she's been holding back. Because here's the reality: a body can be touched without being moved. But a woman whose senses are fully alive cannot help but be moved, and once she's moved, release is inevitable. The question is, will you be the one to awaken her that way? When you master this, you stop trying to force the destination, because you've mastered the journey. And that's when she'll surprise you. Because the moment you make her senses your focus, the release you were chasing will come to you naturally. If emotional safety is the foundation and engaging her senses is the architecture, then understanding her rhythm is the way you bring the whole structure to life. Because here's the truth: no two women move through desire in exactly the same way. And even the same woman will not always respond in the same pattern every time. Her rhythm is not a fixed formula, it's a living, breathing language. And if you want her to release faster, you have to learn to speak it fluently. Too many men rely on repetition. They think, this worked once, so it will work every time. But bodies aren't machines. Desire isn't mechanical, it's musical. And like music, it has tempo changes, crescendos, pauses, and unexpected turns. The mistake is assuming you can play the same notes at the same speed every time and expect the same reaction. That's not rhythm, that's autopilot. And autopilot is the enemy of passion. Understanding her rhythm means paying attention, not just to the big signals, the obvious moans, the obvious movements, but to the subtle cues. The way her breath changes when something feels good. The way her hips tilt slightly when she wants more pressure. The way her muscles tighten for just a second before she surrenders again. These are not random. They are her body telling you exactly where she is on the path toward release. And if you listen closely enough, she will show you how to guide her there faster. This requires patience, but not the kind of patience that feels like waiting. It's active patience, the kind that's fully engaged, that's constantly learning in real time. It's the difference between driving in silence and driving with the windows down, music on, paying attention to every curve in the road. You're not just moving forward, you're feeling the terrain beneath you. And here's where the psychology comes in. A woman's rhythm isn't just her physical arousal. It's the interplay between her body, her mind, and her emotions in that exact moment. If her mind is still carrying stress from earlier in the day, her rhythm might start slower. If she's been feeling deeply connected with you all day, her rhythm might already be fast before you even touch her. This is why you can't rely on a checklist. You have to read the actual moment you're in. Some rhythms will call for steady build-up, layering sensations gradually until her body is practically begging for release. Others will call for quick bursts of intensity, giving her what she craves right away before softening again. And here's the irony. Sometimes slowing down is what makes her get there faster, because slowing down at the right time allows her to ride the wave instead of crashing before she's ready. The art is knowing when to push and when to pause, when to add and when to hold back, when to change the pace entirely. And you can only know that by being so present, so attuned that you stop thinking about your move and start feeling a movement. Philosophically, this is about surrendering your own agenda. It's about moving from performance to partnership. If you go in thinking, I have to get her there fast, you'll miss the moment her body tells you exactly how to get her there. But if you go in thinking, I'm going to listen, adapt, and follow her lead while guiding her forward, then speed becomes a byproduct of alignment, not pressure. Think about dancing with someone who knows your rhythm. They don't rush you, but they also don't hold you back. They feel when you're about to take a step, and they're already there with you. They match your pace, they sense your energy, and because of that, the dance feels effortless. That's what intimacy can be when you understand her rhythm. It becomes a dance where both of you are leading and following at the same time. And this is important. Understanding her rhythm is not about controlling her. It's about co-creating with her. You are not the conductor with an orchestra that must obey. You are both musicians, and the beauty comes from how you play together. This mindset shift is powerful because it takes away the sense of pressure for both of you. Instead of, I must make this happen, it becomes, we are discovering this together. When you truly get this, you'll notice something remarkable. The time it takes for her to release will shorten naturally without forcing it. Why? Because the moment you align with her rhythm, resistance disappears. She's not trying to adjust to your pace, and you're not trying to adjust to hers. You've already found the pace you both belong to in that moment. And here's something that may surprise you. Understanding her rhythm also means being okay with changes in tempo. Sometimes she's ready to sprint. Sometimes she wants to linger. The ability to adapt without losing connection is the difference between someone who can create one great experience and someone who can create great experiences again and again. This adaptability isn't just skill, it's respect. It's telling her, I see you right now, not just the you I remember from last time. And that level of presence makes her trust you even more, which, as we've already talked about, is the hidden accelerator of everything. So don't just touch her, track her. Don't just listen to her words. Listen to her silence. Don't just see the moment. See the movement within the moment. Because once you learn her rhythm, you stop pushing her toward release and start carrying her there. And that changes everything. When you think of it this way, speed isn't something you manufacture. It's something you discover. And discovery is always faster than force. So here's what I want you to remember. The key is not to dominate her rhythm or abandon yours. It's to create a shared one. Because when two people find that, time disappears, the body responds, and the release you were aiming for doesn't just come quickly. It comes completely. That's why emotional safety is the first and most critical step. When I say emotional safety, I'm not talking about being soft or overly sentimental. I'm talking about creating an environment where she feels so secure in who she is with you, that every part of her, body, mind, and soul relaxes. And that relaxation is what allows her body to respond faster and more intensely. Think about it. You cannot truly enjoy yourself when you're on guard. You can't release tension when part of you is bracing for judgment, rejection, or criticism. For a woman, the ability to reach her peak is directly connected to her ability to feel accepted, valued, and free from pressure. If she feels like she has to perform, she's in her head, not in her body. If she feels she has to meet your expectations, she's monitoring herself instead of surrendering. That's why some men never realize they're the ones slowing things down. Not because they're doing something wrong physically, but because they haven't done the work emotionally. Here's the truth. A woman's nervous system is designed to pick up cues of safety or danger almost instantly. It's biological. It's primal. If you're impatient, if you're distracted, if your energy is rushed, her body will know. And the moment her subconscious senses tension, it will resist opening fully. Emotional safety is like unlocking a door. Without it, you're knocking endlessly, wondering why nothing's happening. So, what does this look like in practice? It starts outside the bedroom. It's the way you speak to her when there's no sexual context at all. It's listening when she shares something vulnerable without making her feel weak for saying it. It's respecting her boundaries without sulking or withdrawing. It's building a pattern of trust so strong that when the moment of intimacy comes, her body remembers, I can be myself here. I'm not going to be judged, rushed, or abandoned. And yes, in the moment itself, safety is reinforced by presence. Presence is the most underrated aphrodisiac you will ever bring to the table. Not expensive gifts, not complicated techniques. Presence. Being fully in that moment with her. Watching her responses. Listening to her breath. Letting her see in your eyes that you are exactly where you want to be. When a woman feels you are truly there with her, not lost in your head, not imagining something else, she lets go of the invisible tension that slows her down. But let's get even deeper. Emotional safety isn't just about how you treat her. It's about how you treat yourself. If you're insecure, if you're constantly seeking validation, if you're measuring your worth by her reaction, she will feel that pressure. That's not safety, that's weight. The safest men are the ones who don't need her climax to validate their masculinity. They approach intimacy as an exchange, not a performance. And paradoxically, that's what actually makes her more likely to release faster. Because she knows you're not measuring the success of the encounter by how quickly she gets there. You also have to understand that safety doesn't mean removing all mystery or passion. It's not about being predictable or dull. In fact, unpredictability and excitement work best when they're anchored in trust. Think of it like a dance. She can only enjoy the thrill of the spins and dips if she knows you won't drop her. That's what emotional safety gives, the confidence to let go without holding back. And here's the philosophical truth beneath all this. Safety is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of trust. Fear will always be there, especially in intimacy. Fear of being seen, fear of being too much, fear of not being enough. But when trust is strong, those fears lose their power. Trust says, even if I am fully seen, I am still wanted. Trust says, even if I make a sound, a move, a request that feels vulnerable, I will not be shamed. Trust is the foundation that allows desire to flourish without resistance. So if you want her to release faster, stop thinking only about speed and start thinking about depth. Start thinking about how to make her feel so completely seen, so deeply accepted, that the idea of holding back feels unnatural. Because when she feels that's safe, she's not waiting for permission to let go. She's already halfway there. The mistake many people make is thinking safety is something you build in the moment. It's not. It's something you build consistently, so that when the moment comes, you're not scrambling to create it. It's already there, like muscle memory. And remember, she's not just releasing physically, she's releasing mentally, emotionally, spiritually. She's letting go of control, and that requires faith in you. Faith that you won't misuse that surrender. Faith that you will hold it with the same care you hold her body. Because in the end, making her release faster is not about pressure, it's about freedom. It's about creating a space where her body feels no reason to hold back. And when you give her that space, when you make her feel not just wanted, but safe, she will surprise you. She will respond in ways you didn't think possible. So here's what I want you to take with you. Speed without safety is like fire without oxygen. It burns out quickly, if it even starts at all. But when safety is there, when trust is built and presence is real, her release is not something you have to force. It's something you simply allow. And that is when pleasure stops being an act and becomes an art. If emotional safety lays the foundation, engaging her senses fills the space, and understanding her rhythm guides your steps, then anticipation is the energy that electrifies the entire experience. It's the tension in the air before the first touch, the pause right before the kiss, the delicious ache of knowing something is coming but not knowing exactly when. And here's the paradox. If you want her to release faster, you have to slow certain moments down. Because anticipation doesn't delay the peak, it amplifies it. We live in a culture of instant gratification. We click, we swipe, we stream, everything is now. And that has spilled over into the way people approach intimacy. Too often, it's treated like a race to the finish line. But the truth is, the moments before the release are not just a prelude, they are the accelerators. The more you build that tension, the more explosive the release will be, and the faster her body will want to get there once you finally let it happen. Think of anticipation like stretching a rubber band. If you just pull it a little and let go, it snaps back weakly. But if you stretch it slowly, feeling the pull, watching it build, when you finally release it, the snap is powerful and immediate. That's what teasing does. It builds the tension to a point where her body is already coiled, ready to spring forward. This is not about withholding affection in a cold or manipulative way. It's about giving in doses that make her want the next one even more. It's a form of storytelling. You create a rhythm where she feels she's moving forward, but you occasionally hold her on the edge just long enough to make the next moment irresistible. This is where restraint becomes power. Not because you're denying her, but because you're intensifying her experience. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Anticipation engages the brain's reward system in a way that instant gratification doesn't. Neuroscience tells us that dopamine, the neurotransmitter tied to pleasure and motivation, is released not just when we get the reward, but even more so in the moments leading up to it. In other words, her body is already preparing for release before it happens, and that preparation heightens her desire and shortens the time it takes for her to reach the peak, once you give her what she's been waiting for. In practice, this can be as simple as slowing your hand just when she expects you to go faster, letting your lips hover near hers before you finally close the gap, or shifting your attention from one area of her body to another just before she thinks she's figured out your pattern. It's about making her realize that she can't predict you, and therefore she has to stay fully present with you. Predictability is comfort, unpredictability is excitement. And when those two exist together, when she feels safe but surprised, you've struck the perfect balance. Anticipation also builds emotional intimacy. When you linger, when you slow down, you're telling her, I'm not in a hurry to be done with you. You're showing her that the experience is about the journey, not just the climax. This is incredibly powerful because it makes her feel valued in the moment, not just as a means to an end. And when a woman feels valued, she lets go of self-consciousness. That release of mental tension clears the path for her physical release to happen sooner and more powerfully. But let's address the discipline this requires, because it's easy to get caught up in your own desire and rush ahead. Slowing down in moments of high intensity takes self-control. It means you're tuned into her more than you are to your own urgency. It means you're prioritizing her experience, trusting that your patience will make the final moment better for both of you. And here's the deeper philosophical truth. Anticipation is a gift you give to both of you. For her, it's the thrill of being wanted so much that you're willing to savor every moment before the peak. For you, it's the mastery of your own impulses which makes you a more intentional and connected partner. And intentionality is magnetic. It makes her trust you, want you, and respond to you faster. When done right, anticipation doesn't frustrate, it liberates. It creates a space where every nerve is awake, every sense is tuned in, and every moment feels electric. It's not about prolonging for the sake of prolonging. It's about heightening the intensity so that when the release comes, it feels inevitable, unstoppable, and deeply satisfying. Think of it like holding her hand at the top of a hill. You can push her forward right away, and she'll roll down quickly. But if you hold her there, let her feel the height. Let her see the view. Let her body sense the pull of gravity waiting. When you finally let go, she doesn't just roll, she flies. And this is the beautiful irony. By slowing down at the right times, you speed up the overall journey. Because anticipation doesn't just prepare her for release, it creates a hunger for it. And hunger always makes the first bite more powerful. So don't be afraid to pause. Don't be afraid to tease. Don't be afraid to stretch that rubber band just a little longer. Because what you're doing in those moments is not wasting time. You're compressing desire so tightly that when it unravels, it moves with unstoppable force. And if you want her to release faster, that's exactly what you want. Momentum that feels like it's been building forever, but reaches its destination in an instant. Here's what I want you to take away. Anticipation isn't about waiting. It's about wanting. And when you can make her want so deeply that she can't stop herself from surrendering, release stops being something you chase and becomes something she runs toward. When all the pieces are in place, emotional safety, a world of sensory engagement, a deep understanding of her rhythm, and the artful use of anticipation, there is one final layer that transforms everything from a physical act into an unforgettable experience, deep connection in the moment. Because here's the truth. Technique can take her far, but connection is what carries her over the edge. Connection is what turns pleasure into release, and release into surrender. It's the invisible current running between you, the thing she can't quite describe, but feels in every nerve of her body. And when it's there, everything you've built up to now, every touch, every pause, every shift in rhythm, lands with 10 times the impact. Deep connection is not complicated, but it is rare. It's rare because it requires something most people are too distracted or self-conscious to give: complete presence. Presence means you are nowhere else but with her, not in your head, not thinking about what's next, not replaying a move you saw somewhere. It means you're right there, in sync, as if the two of you are the only people in the world. This is where eye contact becomes more than a glance. It becomes a tether. Where your breathing becomes more than an unconscious act. It becomes a shared rhythm. Where your touch stops being mechanical and starts being communicative, telling her, I feel you, I hear you, I'm here. And the more she feels that, the more she trusts the moment. That trust makes her body soften in all the right ways, letting desire move through her freely and quickly. Connection also means you see her, not just the physical woman in front of you, but the whole person. You're not just interacting with her body. You're engaging her mind, her emotions, and even the part of her that exists beyond words. It's knowing that every touch is touching more than skin. It's touching memory, longing, insecurity, confidence, all at once. And because you understand that, your energy shifts from trying to do it right to wanting to truly be with her. The philosophical beauty here is that connection strips away performance. It takes away the idea that intimacy is about achieving something and replaces it with the idea that intimacy is about sharing something. That shift is powerful because when she feels you're not just trying to get somewhere, she feels safe to go anywhere with you fast. But connection isn't only emotional, it's physical alignment too. It's feeling when her breath catches and naturally adjusting your pace. It's noticing when she tenses in pleasure and knowing whether to hold that moment or push her forward. It's matching her energy so she doesn't feel like she's catching up to you or slowing you down. You're moving together. This is why deep connection shortens the time it takes her to release. It's not that you're skipping steps. It's that you're removing friction. When there's no disconnect between you, there's no hesitation in her. She's not holding back out of uncertainty. She's not waiting for you to get it. She's already there with you, and her body follows her mind. And here's something else: a deep connection is also about vulnerability, yours. Most men think vulnerability means weakness, but in intimacy, vulnerability is strength. When you let her see that you're as invested in the moment as she is, that you're feeling, that you're affected, that you're not hiding behind control, you give her permission to be equally unguarded. Two guarded people can create attraction, but they can't create release. That requires letting go, and letting go requires seeing the other person let go too. When connection is real, you start to feel her responses before you even see them. You sense when she's about to moan, when she's about to gasp, when she's about to fall apart in your arms. You don't have to guess, you know. And that knowing is what makes you able to guide her without fumbling, without second guessing, without breaking the flow. That's when everything accelerates naturally, without force. What's incredible is that this connection doesn't just make the experience faster, it makes it more meaningful. Because you're not just chasing an outcome, you're building something between you that lingers long after. She doesn't just remember what happened, she remembers how she felt with you, and that memory feeds her desire the next time you're together. The truth is, you can master every technique in the world and still never touch the part of her that unlocks real release, if you're not truly connected. But the reverse is also true if you are deeply connected. Even imperfect technique can lead to a powerful, fast, and fulfilling release, because connection turns imperfection into intimacy and intimacy into passion. So when you think about making her release faster, don't picture speed as a sprint. Picture speed as the natural flow of two people so in tune that resistance doesn't exist. Picture a moment where she's not thinking about the time, the technique, or even herself. She's thinking only of you, because you've pulled her into a space where nothing else matters. And when you can do that, when you can look at her and have her know without a doubt that you are completely there, completely with her, you'll understand that the real secret isn't in moving faster, it's in moving together. Because in the end, the quickest way to her release is not through pressure, force, or strategy. It's through presence, trust, and a connection so deep that her body doesn't just want to let go. It has no choice. Remember, these techniques can be learned, anticipation can be practiced, rhythm can be read, senses can be engaged, but connection is what makes it all come alive. Without it, you're just touching a body. With it, you're touching a soul. And when you touch a soul, the body follows without hesitation.